Hello, André Cicolella. You are a toxicologist from Paris, France, and you have come to the Netherlands to explain to European Greens United here why health should be at the core of green politics. Could you explain why?
Yes, the health question should be in the core of ecological policy, because we are facing an health crisis today in every developed country, but also in the South countries. We observe an increase which we can call epidemics of chronic diseases, cancer, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, consequences of obesity for a large part, reproductive trouble, behavioral trouble, asthma. All these diseases are related to environment. And in all countries, they are increasing. And we have to analyze this situation as a consequence of human activity. And that's the reason why health crisis should be considered as an ecological crisis, like climate, biodiversity, or energy, which are the consequences of human activity. And health is is a major question, of course, because from health, everything depends. Work and even life expectancy. It's stupid to consider that life expectancy will continue to grow, because life expectancy is clearly related to health system, you know. And that's the reason why I'm here to explain, and I hope all green parties and all ecologists will be involved to explain that health question is a major question.
Now, how can green politicians and parties act upon that challenge? How can they manage to make the public understand it and translate it into political action?
Several possibilities. For instance, we have organized a campaign in France on bisphenol A. Bisphenol A is a chemical which is widely used in some plastics, and every people in developed countries has bisphenol A in its body. And bisphenol A is cause of cancer, diabetes, obesity, behavioral trouble, reproductive trouble. A lot of things are related to bisphenol A, and the exposure comes principally from exposure during pregnancy, and the effects can be observed when during the infancy, but also during adulthood and on several generations. So it's a major health problem, and we have launched this campaign to explain why we must change the paradigm of toxicology, of toxic risk. And clearly the consequence from a political point of view is to classify these chemicals specifically as endocrine disruptors and to change the basis of European regulation. France has decided to ban bisphenol A in baby bottles, and Denmark has done the same. And today the European Commission has to decide. Do they follow France and Denmark, or do they ask France and Denmark to cancel their regulation? It's a question which is not a political question, it's a citizen question. And I hope in each country ecologist group will act to gain the same decision in their country, and of course in the consequences in the European countries.
How long did it take you to convince the French public from the time you started talk about it.
We started the campaign in March. We launched the campaign in March 2009 at the starting point of our network. And we have the decision from the French Parliament will be has been taken in June 2010. You know, it's just 1 year.
And has that opened doors to other issues you can then tackle?
Yeah, we have organized a scientific meeting on endocrine disruptors called the change of paradigm, to explain that we have enough scientific data to show that these chemicals cannot be considered in a traditional way, because with these chemicals, the old way of thinking, dose makes the poison, is not available today. We have to think in terms of the period makes the poison, because the exposure during pregnancy is the major time of exposure, and we have to change the regulation on this basis.
Could you have you already started, because that's something else that is from going from the drop to the whole averse shower,
which is very emblematic of the situation today, because every people has bisphenol A in his body, and the consequences in terms of health are very important. And that's the reason why we can explain through through bisphenol A the challenge today. How can we stop the new chronic disease epidemics? That's the point. It's a major point for all society, because, for instance, cancer today in France, it's 1 man out of 2. 1 woman out of 3. It's a major epidemic. The rate of cancer in France has doubled in 25 years. In 25 years, it's the same for diabetes and the same for cardiovascular diseases. They continue to grow in France, but also in developed countries. And the consequences today is that insurance systems are in danger. They are going to explode, because they cannot follow these epidemics. So it's urgent to act on environmental causes of diseases to preserve our social system.
Thanks very, very much.